Well, ever since we moved to Idaho 6 years ago, going on 7, we've seen this sign in Post Falls for Treaty Rock, a historical landmark. Well, today I'm going to show you what it's all about. Going eastbound or westbound on Highway 90, you take exit 5. It goes into a little downtown area, Spokane Street, which is kind of the heart of Post Falls downtown. And there's signs to this Treaty Rock historical site. I'm about to take you there with me. Now we're going north on Spokane Street, and I can see right here the brown sign there, Treaty Rock, and the camera. So we're going to turn left onto Celtice Way, and we'll be really close to Treaty Rock. Now the reason that Celtice Way is so important is it's part of the history of Treaty Rock. So we're going to turn left on Compton Street, Post Falls, which is right near a Perfection Tire store, and we're going to find the historic sign, Treaty Rock Historical Site. Kind of in an odd place, but it's got a fascinating history to it. So hi everyone, it's Brett with Ida H2O Adventures, and I'm on a little mission today. It's Thursday, January 21st, 2026. Lise is actually down in Southern California with our youngest grandson, Ethan, and she's been down there for a few days. She's coming home Saturday. But I thought I'd take this opportunity and invite you on a little venture. I kind of led into it a little bit with some of the signage, but I'm going to head up on the trail and see if I can find Treaty Rock. Come along on this adventure with me. So this sign here says, "Welcome to Treaty Rock Park," and it's got the map of where I need to go to see the Treaty Rock. And it's not a real pretty day today, but it's not foggy and overcast too bad. Obviously it's not sunny, but I thought this might be a good day to come check this out. So I'm gonna go up this way, up the trail, and see if I can find this historic rock. Yeah, this is kind of in a unique area. I mean, there's businesses and highways built up around this rock, but it's kind of in the heart of Post Falls. You know, for those of you that don't know where Post Falls is about 5 miles from Coeur d'Alene, famous city here on Lake Coeur d'Alene, and it's got a lot of history here. So thought I'd take you on this little adventure today. Really pretty rock formations along here. Those cars going by are on Highway 90. We're on the westbound side, so the cars going left to right are on westbound. And this is very, very famous. Supposedly this is where Frederick Post and the Indian chief at the time, his name was Chief Celtice, signed on this rock, where Mr. Post acquired Post Falls. I don't know if you can see it or not. Frederick Post, and then I guess the Indian chief's signature. Well, this placard says that Frederick Post was born in Germany back in 1821. He came to America in 1848. He had 5 daughters. He was in Illinois. In Illinois, he put his millwright skills to use by patenting a riding scraper and pulverizing land roller. He dammed a couple creeks there and set up a grist mill on the creek. In 1871, Post transported his equipment for a lumber mill and grist mill to the inland Northwest. He was an early pioneer from this area. He had homes and business investments in the hubs of Spokane, Rathdrum, and along the Spokane River in Idaho. He is credited with developing an economic center around the falls. Frederick had an eye for water power. He knew that it would be important to both the Coeur d'Alene people and the settlers. The lumber mill he built right at the Post Falls waterfalls. The Little Falls of Spokane River was eventually changed to Post Falls in honor of Mr. Post. Frederick and Margaret Post left their names on streets in Post Falls and are buried in a family plot in Evergreen Cemetery. I want to try and get up there and maybe see their headstones. And now comes the truth. I guess although there's no evidence that a treaty was actually signed here, the rock has become a symbol of a verbal agreement between two men, Moses Celtice of the Coeur d'Alene tribe and Frederick Post. A legal description of the land agreement with the date June 1st, 1871 appeared in the final treaty of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, signed in 1889 and ratified in 1891. There's no record of money that exchanged hands, but what we have been told, and this I have some Google information on this, whether that's right or wrong, we won't know. But they bought these falls, if you will, for $500. Here's a quote from Mr. Post. I've always looked forward more to the future of Post Falls than I have in its past. I consider Post Falls a stable town, an ideal place to live. We're not citified and we're not rural, but we have many advantages of both. And we are truly an American town. And it kind of still feels that way today. We're not a big city, we're 40,000. We're 5 miles from the famous town of Coeur d'Alene, which is on Lake Coeur d'Alene. It's a big resort town, and Coeur d'Alene has 60,000 people. And of the last census, I believe Coeur d'Alene was the 5th largest city in Idaho, and Post Falls being the 7th largest. So at that small population, we're still big cities in the scheme of Idaho population. So this is from Google. It says the site of Post Falls Dam was previously home to a 20-foot wooden diversion dam built by pioneer settler and namesake of the Post Falls, Frederick Post, who purchased the land from Chief Andrew Celtice, I guess Andrew and Moses was his name, of the Coeur d'Alene tribe for $500 in 1871. Post built his original dam to power a sawmill on the north channel of the river. The sawmill burned down in 1902, and the site was sold to Washington Water Power, which is now known as Avista. They began construction on 3 dams for hydroelectric power generation, and the powerhouse, which is located in the center channel, was completed in 1906, and I'll show you a little bit about that later. So just on the other side of the highway is a place called Falls Park. It's a public park. But over there is where the dams are. There's 3 dams, which I'll show you in a second. But I'm going down Spokane Street and then turning right to go into Falls Park. Kind of a cool map of Post Falls, Idaho. It's really grown over the years. When we moved up here, this population sign said 27,000. It's at 40,000 now. But right here, I'm kind of in here. That's Falls Park. There's going to be an L-shaped dam that we'll see. A big concrete bridge over here. And then this is where the powerhouse is. It's the middle channel. And then there's a 3rd channel down here. So this is the big one that we're going to go overlook. There's a 3rd channel. A 2nd channel, I mean, and 3rd channel, and they all converge back into one again and go down towards Spokane, Washington. So here's the L-shaped dam. This is the northernmost dam on the Spokane River. This is coming out of Lake Coeur d'Alene. And one of the things I noticed as I was walking over here, you can hear the roar of this about 300 yards away. But one thing I wanted to show you is look at the icicles hanging off that line over there. I'm going to zoom in here real quick. Isn't that something? It's been very, very cold here. It's 32 degrees outside right now. And there's just icicles everywhere hanging on these lines. And you just see how that water is just flowing right out of those dams. Now again, this is the northernmost dam, and this is the one that really controls the level of Lake Coeur d'Alene. There's also a middle dam. That's where the powerhouse is, where the electricity is being generated with the hydroelectric effect. And then there's a southern channel. So there's 3 channels here, this being the big main one. And then they all flow back into a single channel that goes down the Spokane River and runs through the city of Spokane, runs out by the gorge on the way over to Seattle off that way, and then eventually joins the Columbia River, which then flows out into the Pacific. Here's another view from a different vantage point. Running down this deep canyon here. Underneath that old concrete ridge. That's Highway 90 going eastbound in the background. It's just a beautiful sight. And if you don't believe how cold it is, can you see my breath? It's cold out. Anyway, I'm gonna put this together. I want to thank everybody for coming along on this journey with me. My lips are kind of cold. Anyway, until our next adventure, bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like us. Please subscribe. And until our next adventure, bye.